overlooked, underrated, and underappreciated, and any other synonym can be applied to Mad Max. What up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I am your host, Mike Fury, and I make informative videos just like this one. So please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content. And with that being said, guys, welcome to my complete review for Mad Max.
There's only those who live, those who die, and those who stand in my way. My name is Max.
The world, from gas wars to Fallout, from hunchback to mechanic, from lone warrior to the driver, and from husk to magnum opus. You are the only ones who oppose the savage call in search for silence. Max is a survivor, driving from his past as fast as he can, and on this lonesome road, he is left for dead. He wakes up to man's best friend, the mechanic, and of course the interceptor, his famous car, also known as the black on black chop shop. Now he must build the greatest car in the waste to make his way to the plains of silence, but not before fulfilling a prophecy and dealing with the demons from his past. The story of Mad Max is okay. If you were to ask me what's better, the video games or the movies, yes, all of them, including Fury Road, I would say all of them are way better in terms of storytelling. And the reasoning behind this is that Mad Max, the game, has this real unorthodox form or format for storytelling. It's such a weird thing to even notice. Like, how did they even come up with this? So instead of having this natural progression scene by scene, you do some events, then have another scene that explains more of the story. You know how like a regular video game would? Here you learn stuff about the world and about Max himself through actions in the world, which can be very interesting, but I don't believe that that is the main way you should do things. I think that doing actions in the world should add as a supplement, not really as the main form of storytelling. So for example, you'll learn about Max through the upgrade system. I don't know why. You'll learn a little bit more about his perspective when you interact with relics. Chumbucket is the main source for the prophecy and the religion that is based off of the cars and the interceptor and Max and all of this sort of kind of cult fanaticism that is actually in the game. Like, all of that is spewed from Chumbucket. Even the love interest and her whereabouts are actually detailed outside of a cutscene, outside of any main dialogue. It's actually just you inside of a base and Max happens to ask, hey, where'd the concubine go? By far the best part about the story is the fact that the car itself, once you're inside the car, it's all focused on objectives and the world. So you won't hear too much dialogue pertaining to Max himself. You will hear a lot of dialogue spewed from Chumbucket and the characters in the world pertaining to objectives and how we got to this place, which is actually pretty cool. As long as you're in the car, the story is much more fruitful, and if you do more stuff in the world, then you get more information, which is actually a double-edged sword, because if you're the type of person that doesn't want to interact with the world that much and you just want to push through the story, then you're going to have a lot of, I would like to say, blank spots or a lot of blind spots where you don't really understand what's kind of going on, and therefore I could understand why there's a lot of people that have issues with the story. There is a whole lot to unpack here, but I gotta say this. As a fan of Fallout, if Fallout New Vegas 2 or the next Fallout, whatever it is, doesn't look like this, I'm gonna be very disappointed, because this is exactly how you do barren wasteland. I gotta say that they absolutely nailed what a post-apocalyptic wasteland should look like. So let's start right there, right? The world. It is pretty big even in 2023, and it is occupied by the remnants of humanity: savages, survivors, and slaves. These three parties all have their reason to push forward, and they all have their own moral compass. The savages are more focused in on the religious or cult thinking, which gives this world a lot of depth and reasoning to be behind all the altars and effigies and reasons behind their actions. For example, one particular survivor camp or one particular survivor group thinks that the world will be destroyed again by way of flood, which is amazing. So they're holed up in a old ship, and of course their leader would talk like a pirate, because why not? At this point, any fool can live off of a version of their own reality, and it's awesome levels of world building. Max looks awesome and has a bit of customization to him as you eventually unlock his road warrior outfit, to the point that he looks exactly like the movies. And to a certain degree, he looks a lot like someone we used to know. Arthur Morgan, is that you?
Yes.
I also like the enemy designs as well, because each and every single faction has a reasoning behind why they wear what they wear. For example, the Red Eyes is what they call them. There are underground folk. They're more like mole people. Same thing with the Pharaohs. You won't see Pharaohs out in broad daylight. Sometimes the game allows them to come out and they'll fight you in broad daylight. And that's the reasoning behind why they are so cloaked. Apart from them, you have the Savages, which are crazy people, all in their cars that look like they've been eating other people, which is exactly what they've been doing with all this cannibalism going around. And they look the part with black mouths and black hands because they're working on their cars all day. And that's just a few examples on foot. When you get into the car, now it's a whole new different world, or with a whole new amount of depth and this amazing depth of field, which is intriguing because now every single thing that you see in the distance is a possible location that you could possibly visit. That right there is super cool. So not only that, we also got a bit of Far Cry mechanics here. Instead of towers, we have air balloons, and it allows you to scope out areas, like a little bit of State of Decay. But this is one of the details that I love so much about the game. It doesn't give you every single little thing. Now, if you want to get every single little thing on the map, you'd have to do certain things like unlock the survey party, which unlocks every single scavenging location. But when you get up to the balloon, yeah, it'll show you a few places of interest, but it won't show you everything. And that's up to you to completely explore this large desert. It is absolutely excellent. And for the final point, get ready to see a lot of dark stuff. And I'm talking about 16 times the detail of dark stuff. I'm talking about cannibalism, I'm talking about dismemberment, maggots, all of the disgustingness that comes along with a post-apocalyptic adventure. Yeah, you're gonna get all of that. Hope your stomach is ready. But apart from all of that, we have tons of other details as well. I love the differences between the armored variants of the cars and the non-armored variants. I love the realistic car explosions. I love the oil spills. I love the skyscape of the world. It shows you some beautiful sunsets. It's absolutely amazing. Apart from the amazing weather effects, the night cycles, everything in this world looks phenomenal. I could also understand why a lot of people would just say, hey, it's a bunch of sand and there's not too many people, but it fits the universe as a hand in glove. It is perfect, and in reality, it's one of my favorite open world.
Announce your business, or learn to love a bolt in the brain.
It is me, John Bucket, Master Wrench Jockey, and Skill Blackfinger, who's an acolyte to the angel combustion who beseeches you.
Who's your driver? Does he have any knowledge of medicine?
I fear not. Your pain must linger. I'm sorry, but he is a driver of otherworldly skills. Yes, you see.
Why would I need a driver of otherworldly skills? Scrap my...
Now this is tricky, because Max, number one, isn't the most loquacious individual, and the game forgoes a traditional soundtrack for a more natural, environmental, atmospheric audio. Now let's start off with Max, right? I like his very straightforward approach. There's no sweet talking, there's no silver tongue. It's just a broken personality on display throughout the whole entire game. This works opposite to Chumbucket, who's very talkative and is one of the best characters in the game. And what I love about what they did with the audio for Chumbucket is that his verbiage is akin to the religious zealot version of audio. Obviously, it's going to be English, but you get a lot of apocalyptic slang. For example, he's known as a Blackfinger, and obviously Blackfingers is just a cool way of saying, hey, he's a mechanic. Black fingers, obviously, when oil gets on your hands, it stains your hands, and yeah, that's how you get black fingers. He goes on and on about a prophecy of a driver of otherworldly skill. And this permeates throughout the whole entire adventure. And it gives you little by little tidbits here and there of the world and what used to happen before, what it was like before Max was here, and little bits like that. And I absolutely love that about Chumbucket. And it's those little details that immerse you in these video games like no other video games. Mad Max has top tier immersion. I absolutely love that, those little tiny details of the game. And it's those same stories and that immersion that help along with the Wasteland, which also has its own share of mysteries and details. For example, rodents and reptiles that scurry away from your presence can be killed for a quick meal. Like, a lot of people probably didn't even notice that, but yeah, you can kill the little rats and just eat them right there if you're lacking in health. That is a very realistic detail that should only be possible in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Like, that is a real detail. The audio is excellent, from Max breaking bones to body slamming people with this German suplex, the thuds on the ground. It sounds awesome. But the mystery is, how in God's name does the sand thunderstorm work? Like, I need somebody to explain, how is it that we're getting lightning strikes in the desert? Like, how does this, like, somebody explain this. Now, this might be a natural phenomenon. I don't know. It happens way too often in Mad Max, but it's a visual masterpiece. I absolutely love standing inside of the storm and it's just dark and like lightning striking in the background. Your car's about to blow up. I'm screaming. I'm like, holy crap, this would be absolutely terrifying. But hey, that is just one of the few little examples of just excellent audio work, excellent visuals. The presentation is awesome. If you want more in terms of Max, you could always just interact with the relics themselves and he'll talk a little bit and you get more audio from him as well. But like I said, the audio experience is a great one and a very unique one. 50% combat, 50% driving, 100% exploration. Now let's start off with how this game understands how to do progression. They understood it. Avalanche Studios got progression right, because you start off with a sucky car. The Magnum Opus is the Magnum Opus in only name. When you start off, it's a piece of crap. It's what it is. It's a piece of shit. This husk of metal that has no guns, no armor, no nothing, can be destroyed in a few hits. You jump off a ledge, get ready, because it's gonna start burning up in flames. Chumbuck is gonna have to repair it. You suck at the start of the game. And a lot of you will say, Mike, every single game gets this right. No, they don't, because they don't understand the challenge that comes along with you being underpowered, you being underleveled. A lot of games will let you be the embodiment of death at the start of the game, which is why a lot of gamers will do one gun runs or staying with a knife run throughout Fallout or something along those lines. They'll make things harder for themselves because the game is intentionally so easy or accessible for everybody. You want a good example of this? Just look at Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Far Cry. All of those games could technically be beaten with whatever the game gave you at the start of the game. So in Mad Max, when eventually you want to tackle harder tasks, the game has a great way of pushing you in the right direction, because now The only way you can get better is by doing the things that will get you a better car and better skills. So yes, now we have to fight. Now we have to engage in car combat. Now we have to do races. And we have to do all of the things in the world to get better, to eventually get the parts we need to eventually create the magnum opus. This is the backbone of the game, and it is marvelous. And when you start to engage in everything that the world has to offer, that's when the game opens up. It feels very inviting, and now you more or less understand how you gotta get things done. You gotta go to buzzard nests and destroy them. You gotta go take down oil rigs. You gotta go take specific locations to lower the influence, so the parties that are keeping you guys safe in these bases, they want help as they help you, allow you to use all their parts, allow them to use your little base as a garage. All of these little things add up and they make sense in the world. And the best way to get things done is to get your hands dirty, either with oil by creating an awesome car, or with your hands and fists and feet. So when it comes to combat, it is something along the lines of, I would like to say, a more physical, harder hitting Arkham game. That's the best way to possibly put it. It has a focus on counters. It has a one-shot shotgun at the start. Well, it's a two-shot shotgun, and you eventually build it up to have multiple shots. And it is this very awesome weapon that it can only be used in specific scenarios. But as far as combat is concerned, it's going to be you, this combo meter, your fury, and you're going to be just delivering out punishment, from elbows to spinning back fists to haymakers to body slams and suplexes. You're going to be getting all of that because Mad gets his money's worth when it comes to these ass whoopings. So as you continue to just put straight up beat downs on everybody, you will unlock skills like carrying more shivs or carrying more bullets for your sawn-off shotgun, driving better, having more combos, having more reverses for specific enemies, which make the enemies easier. This is all understandable. It's very purposeful. Max's progression is actually pretty darn cool, and I was pretty happy to just max him out completely so I can see how bad of a badass I could possibly be. And then we jump into the magnum opus, and the magnum opus itself has loads of customizations, all to be looted and gained from this dry world, which brings me to the driving. Being 50% of the game would be dull if they didn't nail the mechanics properly, and they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. This game has great car mechanics, which allow you to have not only great driving, but now you have great car combat, which is not seen in a lot of games. Like usually you'll get like a GTA, hey, stick your gun out the window and just blast them fools. Like you might get that, but this has amazing, very well thought out car combat. And again, it's the progression of everything that makes things worth your while, because you start off with a crappy car that barely has boosts, and eventually you get 4 slots of nitrous, you get a bigger harpoon gun. Since you have more ammo in your shotgun, you get to shoot more bad guys. You have this awesome harpoon thrower as well in the back, because Shumbuck is gonna assist you, and he is probably one of the best in-game, not NPCs, at least when it comes to combat, that you'll probably ever find, because he's very useful, and he'll repair the car, and therefore not forcing you to repair the car like some other games would. This is awesome, purposeful gameplay, and it is the best car combat that you will find since Twisted Metal. It is absolutely tremendous. The world has tons of side activities, and it's in these side activities that you're gonna feel it's a bit of a Far Cry-ish to a certain degree. It has a bunch of tricks up its sleeve as well. Besides the base upgrades, you can find ultra valuable cars on the map, which is awesome. The first time you experience that, you're like, that's almost a gold car. And it's such a cool experience, and I want you guys to experience it. And I'm not gonna give you guys the locations, but it is an awesome thing to find. The game loop is a bit familiar because it does borrow some things from games we love, but it's still really enjoyable. The DLC is just weird, and it's pointless, and it's inconsequential, because for the most part, it is mainly just ornaments and body kits for the magnum opus. But that's not the weird part. This is the weird part. The fact that we had Rockstar energy drink promotion. That's the weird part. It breaks the immersion a little bit, as I used it at the start because I didn't have anything else. But I guess Mad Max walked so Hideo Kojima could run with the Monster energy drink sponsor in Death Stranding. I don't know, it's just completely out of place. Now I have a bunch of issues with the game. Some of them are the usual open world behavior. You're gonna get your repeat dialogues here and there, and a sense of samey side quests as well, but this is where they piss me off. Mad Max has copy-pasted boss fights. They look like twins. There's like 5 of them. They all look exactly the same. But that's not the problem. The problem is that they also copy-pasted the finishers as well. Literally, you finish them off all the same. Three hits in the face with your gun, with the blunt side of the gun, and then we stomp on their face. That is it. That is exactly how we finish all 4 of these dudes, and they're supposed to be menacing. This is the same reason why I dislike Mafia 3. But granted, at least this is only 4 boss fights and the gameplay is actually pretty good. Mafia 3, that's a whole nother story. If you want to know, just go watch the review. The game also has the most useless jump button ever. I think I used it maybe 10 times throughout the whole entire game, and that was 32 hours of my time. I only used it 10 times. It definitely would have benefited more of a crouch button, which would allow you to kind of stealth a little bit more, because the game does have a few stealth mechanics here and there. Like silent knockdowns, they're in the game, but since you can't crouch, you're always just standing up, and it's just, all right. The voice acting could also be a bit spotty, as if they used the wrong recording. And finally, the story. The issue is the way that it handles information. It's just plain weird. I don't know if the story lacks direction. I don't know if they messed up while they were talking about it. They didn't know how to tell the story, but literally the story feels like a bunch of jump cuts spread out. And if it wasn't because of the great world building and the conversations that happen off the cutscenes, then we wouldn't really get that much of a story here. I also believe that to a certain degree, I think that they were going off of the assumption that we had watched some of the previous Mad Max films, or at least Fury Road, which happened to release a few months before the game came out. Something along those lines is where we kind of fall off. It's somewhere in that mix of weird jump cuts, lack of direction for storytelling, and the fact that they kind of assume that we would know anything about this world is where the script completely falls off. I don't know what they're gonna do for the next one, or if there even is gonna be a next one, but this format needs to be scrapped. Pun intended. In conclusion, Mad Max is a weird game with a bunch of weird issues, but the amazing gameplay, along with great presentation, brings this across the finish line. The final score for Mad Max is an 8 out of 10, and let me give you guys a little bit of context to that. At its lowest point, I had this around a 6.5 to a 7, but the amazing world, along with the amazing freedom, with fun on foot and fun in the car gameplay, was enough to bring this to a great game, which is an 8 out of 10 for me. Plus, the price doesn't really bother me that much. Now let's go ahead and answer the 3 questions, shall we? Is it fun? Is it worth it? And is it for you? Is it fun? Yes, it is incredibly fun, both on foot and inside the car. Very fun, very big open world. And for the completionists out there, this will be one of those great big endeavors for you guys, because there is a lot of things to collect in the game. Now, is it worth it? You can find this for $5. I bought this for $5. $5. If I'm not mistaken, I've even seen it as low as $4. Now, MSRP, if you were to buy it on Steam right now, it would be 20 bucks, which is well worth a great asking price if you ask me. But why pay $20 when you could buy it for $5? That's just me. Always save your money. And if anything, if you got 20 bucks to spare, wait for another couple of games to drop down to $4. Cop those as well and give yourself a good amount of backlog to attack. Now, finally, is it for you? If you like Batman, if you like Shadow of Mordor series, if you like the Assassin's Creed series, Mad Max is a great big open world. Along with everybody who likes the Wastelands and the Fallouts of the world, this is a great big open world for you to explore, for you to enjoy, for you to get immersed in, and it gives you a lot of content as well. So you're definitely going to be tackling this. I finished at 32 hours, and I probably did like around, maybe I would like to say 40 to 50%. People are gonna enjoy the hell out of this. If they really like to achievement or trophy hunt and things of that nature, you're gonna really like this. And that is it for the video, you guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, please, there is a poll up on the channel. Actually, I kind of deleted the poll this morning by mistake, but there is a poll usually up on the channel at the end of this review. I posted on the community tab. If you want to decide what game I play next and what game review I review next, Please interact with the poll, decide which game. I usually give you guys 4 options, and since I've done back-to-back open world games now. I did Batman before this, and now I did Mad Max. I'm gonna take a little tiny break over open world or big RPGs, so I'm doing a bunch of small titles. So right now, as of officially today, I'm gonna give you guys the 3 next reviews. It's gonna be Metal Gear Solid Rising with Vengeance. We're gonna also do The Darkness 2, and we're gonna do the X-Men Origins Wolverine Uncaged Edition. We're gonna do all 3 of those games. All of them are notoriously small titles that can be finished in under 10 hours, which gives me enough content, I guess, because if I could do Mad Max within a week, I could definitely do those 3 titles within a week as well. And thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. If you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button, and make sure to share the video, interact with it, comment section, let me know what you guys thought about the review. Give me any type of feedback, both negative and positive. If you dislike the review, hit the dislike button. It's all good as well. You could also support the channel in any way, shape, or form. You can check out the Amazon link or the Epic Creator Code or the Humble Bundle link, all down in the description below. It costs you absolutely nothing and helps me on the back end. And you could also follow me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Links are down in the description below, along with my Patreon. Do consider supporting me there. $1 a day keeps the landlord away. I'm your host, Mike Fury. It's been a complete pleasure. Until next time, Mike, off.